Howdy, Ken. How you doing today?
Doing great, Gary. How are you doing?
Doing well. Ready for episode 32 of the Affiliate Files, talking about the truth about making money online. And I got a question for you. I need to know, who is your number one competition as an affiliate marketer?
That's an easy answer. That person would be me. I'm always competing against myself. How about you?
It's true. I think that it's the biggest competition. And I don't think that people realize that when they come online to make money and to be an affiliate marketer. They're thinking, who's the competition? Right. So I'm going to go to Google. I'm going to type in my niche, right? And the problem that I'm trying to solve, what's the best type of dog food for my vegan dog, right? And you're going to look at those top five results and you're going to be like, that's my competition. But until you start creating the content to compete against them, you're competing against yourself. And like we always talk about here, right? The focus for everybody on the podcast, on the YouTube channel, I'm pointing at my focus sign. You have to be focused. You have to find that focus and the focus of, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be in the business, even as a side hustle. I'm going to get into the business of creating this content to become an affiliate marketer.
Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of people fail to realize is that they look outside at other people and say, "Okay, this is my competition." Whereas they should be looking at themselves and realizing that if I'm going to do this, I got to do it. And I don't care. I'm not even in the same realm as a lot of these people are. And you got to think of it that way. Yeah, they're going to be a competition, but we're talking, months, maybe even years from now before you even get close to getting to that level that those people are on that page one of the search engine search results. I mean, you got to look at yourself first and say, look, am I going to be committed? Am I going to be focused? I'm going to put in the consistency in order to compete with these people because they're up here and you're down here, and I'm showing like two different levels with a wide gap, and you've got to close that gap. And I think that's one of the reasons why you're your first competitor. You're always going to be competing against yourself, and I think that's the most important thing to understand.
Yeah, I mean, the truth about making money online as an affiliate, and we talk about the affiliate files, just to take it back for a second and talk about being an affiliate. The majority of the market research has already been done for you. Now when you pick your niche and you pick that problem that you're trying to solve, yeah, you have to sort of see and have a feeling for that. You know what I mean? Like, if you're trying to be an affiliate for, you know, left-handed pinky finger rings that, right, only 3-year-olds wear, then you're not going to make any money as an affiliate marketer. So, have a little common sense. But if you're talking about, demand and market size and all that kind of stuff, I mean, true market research as an affiliate's already been done for you. You just have to know that, the product that you're promoting, right? The Apple iPhone, you know what I mean? That microphone that you use to do your podcast, that is the best microphone. You're going to talk to your audience about that because they want to do podcasts as well. So you already have that market there, right? So it goes back to understanding that, just like you said, you have to have the discipline to compete against your competitors. But that discipline is something you have to find internally. And that is your number one competition, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you 1000%. And but with that competition also comes the comparison. And I think that's another area where if you're new to affiliate marketing, even for those of us who have been in affiliate marketing for some time, is you have to kind of put that aside. You have to put your blinders on. You have to stay focused and you have to compete by producing content and valuable content at that. But at the same time, really just stay in your lane and not worry about what everyone else is doing. Because I found that in the past, whenever I worried about what everyone else was doing, it caused me to lose my focus and it caused me to look at other areas and trying to speed up whatever content creation I was doing, or maybe something that was a faster shortcut. And this is like an area where you do not want to go, that you need to remain calm, you need to stay focused, and you just need to do it one day at a time. And that to me, if you can accept that internally and realize that it's a journey and then I'm going to be implementing each and every day, and over a period of time I'm going to outwork my competition. That's when you are, to me, you've reached that level where you've got that focus and you've got that drive, and you're going to start producing that content.
Yeah, we talk about relationships, the relationship as an affiliate with your audience, the people you're trying to sell the product to, and then the relationship with the vendor. But there's also a relationship with the other affiliates, and we've hit on that before. But
Yeah.
inside of our mastermind that we're in over at Taking Action Online, and of course, if you're on the podcast, you can go to theaffiliatefiles.com and you can check out, Taking Action Online, that community that we talk about. But you can also think about it this way, and I'll use an analogy of golf, right? I know you've golfed before, Ken, you in the past, and
Mhm.
if your back lets you, you probably still golf today, right?
Yeah,
Ken's currently have some back problems,
I
but
do.
but the point there is, like, if you go golf, right, and you're in that golfing community, you have your golfing buddies, or you just show up to the course, and you get into a group, you sort of have to, again, going back to the competition, you have to understand that at a golf course, you're competing against the golf course, but you're really competing against yourself to stay within your game, right? So if everybody tees off and they all pull out their big stick and they hit their driver, it's a par four and they all drive it up to the fairway, but you know that you can't do that. Yours is going to go out of bounds because you're going to hook it, right? You need to reach for your 5 iron and you need to realize that, hey, I'm going to lay up and then I'm going to chip in and I'm going to two putt and I'm going to walk off with a par.
Yeah. And my dad used to always tell me this when I played baseball. And he used to always say it looks good on paper. Where I would hit some blooper that would fall between the shortstop and the left fielder for a base hit, all the scorekeeper puts in there is base hit. And no one knows that this thing was a blooper. For all intents and purposes, it could be a line drive, a scorching line drive, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day because on paper it's a base hit. And same thing with golf. When we talk about golf, and I know you've golfed as well. You are competing against yourself to keep a certain score. Yeah, you may be competing against your buddies for who's going to pick up the tab at the 19th hole, but at the same time you have to compete with yourself to stay within your game and play within your game, and just really stay focused. That's the thing. I mean, Gary's sign right there, it says it all. It's focus, man. It's totally focus.
Because if you don't focus on the fact that you have to put in the work to create that content or to run the ads, if that's what you're doing, right? If your thing is to try to run paid traffic, there's going to be competition out there. You're going to have to evaluate that competition. But the first competitor is yourself, and just saying, I'm going to do this no matter what, and then to focus on that competition and say, I'm going to beat them, because you laid it out. You said, look, those top 5 people on Google, they're the top 5 for a reason. They've done it. They put in the work. They've laid the ground, the foundation for being the top 5 affiliate in that Google search. So now you're going to have to, just suck it up and be like, "Oh man, this is going to, I'm going to have to put in the work."
Yeah.
And that's really truly, I mean, that's the number one thing you're competing against. It's you and your mind.
Yeah.
So I guess I would ask you, what are some tips that you could give everybody for sort of defeating that, that idea, those thoughts that keep you from even getting started?
Yeah. First of all, it's have a plan. Have a plan. And not just, a 2-month plan or 3-month plan. Have a 2-year, 3-year, 5-year plan of where you want to be, and stay focused and stick with it. Be consistent and sticking to that plan. I think that's the hardest part, because it's so easy to get distracted when you see other people succeeding where you're not. And I think that gets to a lot of people too, because we all have expectations, and high expectations of where we want to be. And we want to do it faster and better than everyone else. But in reality is you have to stay within your game, within your realm, and know what your skill set is, and just keep working at it. This is a craft, and it's a journey. And I think a lot of people think it's a destination. I think that's what it is. Like, my destination is to be earning 10K a month, and it's a goal. That's just a goal of many goals that you need. Instead of thinking I want to make 10 grand a month, I want to make my first $100. That's what I want to do. And then after you make your first $100, that you know you can do it, hey, I'm gonna shoot for $500 and just build upon that. And who knows, after 3 years, 5 years, you might be making that 10K a month that you've talked about. And by then, the work is not done yet. You're gonna keep going. So it's like a never ending thing.
Yeah, because you beat out the top 5 competitors, and guess what? There's 5 other guys behind you that are, like, looking at that same competition that are working just as hard to beat that competition, and maybe they're outworking you. And again, you can't worry about that.
Yeah.
Like, you could drive yourself crazy going, "Well, why am I gonna bother if I know there's 10 other people behind me gonna be working harder than me?" Well, hey, that's just the name of the game, right?
Yeah.
So you gotta be willing to, like you said, lay out that plan. And I use Google as the example because, you know, we talked about, believe it was last week or it may have been over the week before, we talked about some statistics and we talked about, I think it was like 65%
Yeah.
of the affiliate marketers are still using blogs to make
Mhm.
the most money in affiliate marketing, which was a staggering statistic. So there's still money to be made there. But if you're competing against yourself as an affiliate marketer, don't make it harder than you need it to be. So, for example, in specific niches, maybe blogging is not the first traffic source that you tackle,
Mhm.
right? So you know you're competing against those top 5, top 10 search results on Google. You know you're competing against yourself. So why not make it easier for yourself? And how about picking a different traffic source? You know, I know you talked about a weird traffic source just the other day over in the community taking action online. You were like showing all these like weird traffic sources that people had sort of just like given up on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's another great way to think about it too, because you can get overwhelmed when you think about, traffic and how you're going to do it, and it's so important. But there are other ways to generate that traffic, and you have to think like an entrepreneur and think outside the box, and realize that maybe, like Gary said, maybe blogging is not for you, even though a large percentage of affiliates use it. And that's kind of like the I want to call it the misinformation that might be out there, because a lot of people will say that blogging is dead. The same thing that they'll say like email is dead, right? But we rely on email marketing. And but the thing is that when you're competing against yourself, it's all about making sure that you are sticking to that plan. If you're going to blog, or if you're going to stick to forums or YouTube or whatever it is, that you stick with it and you keep pushing, because none of this stuff happens overnight. It takes some time for you to gain traction. And I think that's one thing that a lot of newbies out there, beginners to affiliate marketing, they don't understand that, just because you put up a blog post doesn't mean you're going to be making a lot of money. So you have to do your research, and you have to put the time in, and you have to build upon your experience and provide value above all else in order to start getting that traffic. And the thing with this, with the blogging, is that if it was that easy, everyone would be doing it. Everyone. It would be 100% of people would be making money. But the fact of the matter is that not everyone has the level of focus that you may have, or the discipline to stick to it, that they may give up after 2 months. And those 3 or 65% of people who are making it, that they've stuck through this, and they've been putting in the time and the effort in order to build up their brand and their reputation.
Yeah, I know over at 30 Minute Marketing, and I'm sure like at Ken Furukawa Marketing, the YouTube channels, I can't even count the number of people that have come to my channel, watched a video where I talked about a traffic source or a way that I've made money using a specific traffic source or a strategy. And they want to instantly know, how long is it going to take?
Yeah.
Right? When am I going to start making money? Well, obviously, I can't answer that for you. Right?
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know your level of focus. I don't understand, right, your level of discipline because I know that you're competing against yourself first and foremost.
Yeah. And that's the internal battle that I think a lot of people need to understand. I think human nature is, we look outward and we think, okay, I look around the room, who am I competing against? Whereas in reality, you should turn the table and you should say, hey, I'm competing against myself. If I'm really going to do this, I really need to do it. And just know that you're going to have to outwork the next person in order to get into those top 5 rankings, or whatever it is that you want. You have to put into work. There is no other way, folks. You just got to do the work.
I mean, it's the truth. And I think a lot of times, especially in a lot of affiliate marketing training, or a lot of the videos that you watch, like I said, over Ken Furukawa Marketing or 30-minute marketing, we talk just about the tactics, the techniques, and the strategies. And we don't really spend a whole lot of time on sort of that, getting your mind right and understanding that, again, you're your number one competitor. You're working against yourself. You know, you're going to look at the external competition, and you're going to immediately just put this pressure on you, and you're not even going to get started, and you're just going to quit before you even start, and you're going to look at it and go, why even bother?
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
so you have to get your mind right. And I think a lot of people skip that when they decide, hey, I'm going to come online, I'm going to make some money, even as a side hustle. Like, I heard about this affiliate marketing. They said all I got to do is blast out my link, quote unquote, air quotes for the podcasters, right? You listen on a podcast, you cannot come online and blast out your link on Facebook and get to 10 grand a month, in 3 months. If anybody tells you that, any type of training, just, you know, get your money back, or actually don't even bother wasting your time getting your money back. Just move on and realize that it's not possible, you know? And again, it goes back to being your, number one competition. It's just being realistic, having a realistic view of the fact that you're building a business and it's going to take time to learn the skill. I was thinking about this today, sort of trying to think about it. And one of the things was time. How much time? How much time is it going to take me? People always like figuring out how to find out a shortcut, or, I don't have enough time is one of the things, or, I don't have enough time to do this because I'm busy. Well, if you're too busy to do it, then don't bother starting, because we're all on the same rock,
Yep.
third rock from the sun. It's
Yep.
spinning at the same rate for everyone. 365 days, 24 hours in a day. You know what I mean? It's like, it's science and relativity. It doesn't change, right? We all have that same amount of time to compete against ourselves, much less compete against that competition out there. Again, if we're looking at those Google rankings, right? You've got to be willing to put in the work.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you talk about time, we all have the same amount of time. It's just what you do with that time, right? If someone asks you, how much time is it going to take? The answer is, how much time do you got? How much time are you willing to put into this? How serious you are? Even if you're doing it as a side hustle, you still have to devote some time to doing it. And that takes, whether it's an hour a day or 2 hours a day or whatever you can afford, there's going to be some kind of sacrifice. And I know people don't like to hear that word, because if you've got Netflix time all scheduled out, and you're going to be watching it with your wife and kids, that's something you have to take into consideration. How badly do I want it? Do I really want to build this business and have an extra side income that I can use to pay some bills? Well, if that's the case, then I have to give up 1 hour of that time every week in order to do something, to move forward. And I think we get so comfortable in our worlds, and I'm guilty of that as well, where I get so comfortable doing what I'm doing, that when something new is presented to me, you've got to form that habit of doing it. And I think just getting over that hurdle, and it's a mental hurdle of understanding, okay, I need to do this, and I'm just going to do it. I'm going to start. And you just have to start and be consistent with it and stay focused. That's basically it.
Yeah, because we're all competing against ourselves, but we're also competing against the clock. I
Yeah.
mean, because you have to. The
Yeah.
clock is not stopping for anyone. And think about it, because I know a lot of this, comes upon people depending on different ages, right? Like, so you're a different age. So if you're a 15-year-old and you find affiliate marketing, I'm just going to say you're ahead of the game from
Yeah.
the clock perspective, right?
Yeah.
You have more time,
Yeah.
So a lot of people, they find it at a later stage, or maybe somebody might retire. Like, you may be listening to this podcast and you may be retired and you're like, oh, I'm going to make affiliate marketing my side income, or to, support my retirement or whatever. Well, I mean, like I said, we all have the same amount of time. The clock ticks at the same amount, the same pace. But in reality, right? Like, we feel that it's faster than it really is. And, if you're 80 years old, you're 80 years old. I mean, yeah, that's just, there's no way around that, you
Yeah.
know? But the learning the new skill is still going to take the same amount of time. Now, how much time you dedicate to that skill, you know what I mean? Like, we talked about golf earlier. You may be retired and living on a golf course, and you're like, well, I golf, 18 holes every day. Well, maybe it's time to golf 9 holes a day.
Yeah. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. I think, coming in, and I've said this many times, like, I'm a firm believer that your mindset accounts for at least 90% of your success, because the other 10% would be just your skill set, right? Learning how to write a blog post, how to make a YouTube video, or whatever that may be. You can go through learning how to put together a blog post, but if you get stuck, that's the mental part of it, is how much grit do you have to overcome and learn that new skill? Because I don't buy into the fact that when people tell me, "Oh, I'm too old to learn that." No, I firmly believe that no way, man. That old saying of, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, that
Yeah,
is
that's
totally
BS.
bogus. You gotta want to. If you want it, you will learn it. And one thing I love about what we do in affiliate marketing is that I'm learning something new every single day, and I'm always pushing myself to do something new. Because for me, it just I don't know, it's just weird. It makes me feel young. I don't know what it is. And I'm not gonna tell you guys how old I am, but it makes me feel young, because I just feel like I'm learning skills that are applicable to, pretty much any industry, anywhere in the world. I can do something, and I'm learning this skill, and it just keeps me going. It gets me really excited when I learn something new.
Yeah, I think if you were to just list out, like we started at the beginning, the number one thing you're competing against as an affiliate marketer, if you just list it out and you just be honest with yourself and you list number one, I'm competing against myself because I know me better than anyone else,
Yeah,
right? Am I really going to put in the work? Am I really going to do this? Am I
yeah,
really going to go out? Am I going to go after it? Am I going to go get it? Or am I just thinking that I am, and I'm gonna skip over number 1 because I don't wanna be honest with myself, and I just wanna talk about all the competition out there and the reason I can't succeed.
yeah. And I think that's a really important point to bring up, is that especially in this business, because you are your own business owner. There are no secrets, and there are no to me, you've gotta just put it out there. If you really want to succeed, then you've gotta be totally and completely honest with yourself. And if it's not a priority to build a business, then just be honest and say, "Look, maybe this is not the time. Maybe when I realize that I can overcome my procrastination, maybe that's something that when I'm done with that, that is when I'm gonna start my affiliate marketing business." Just understand that when you get into this and you start building that business, you're gonna uncover a lot of things about yourself that you never knew that you were afraid of, or whatever it is. And you're gonna have to come to grips with that. You're gonna have to face it, and you're either gonna overcome it, or you're gonna let it crush you, and you're just gonna go away. And I think that's a lot of people don't realize, that is that affiliate marketing, when you're running your own business, it's going to expose a lot of problems and issues and things that you may have held deep down inside. Those things are going to come to the surface, and you gotta face those. Otherwise, it's going to derail you from building that business that you've always wanted.
It's true. I mean, even as a side hustle, I mean, you could use a couple analogies. You got too many irons in the fire, you're spinning too many plates. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't have time to do it, then you need to, again, as you're making out that list, you need to say, okay, I'm the number one competition. So, all those things that I'm doing, which one can I stop? Right? I may just have to pause it, right? I may just pause it for now and then come back to it. Or, like you say, put a pin in it and then I'll come back when I have more time. And then the next thing I would say is just be realistic to what types of content you can create.
Mhm.
If you're a graphic artist and you have that capability and you can create stunning images, then you want to, go towards that. If you're a great writer and you can write, go for it. If you can do a
Yeah.
podcast because you have, what do they say? You have a face for radio. I mean, accept it, move on, right? But in reality, even that doesn't matter, right? Like, go onto YouTube, turn on the camera, record your screen or record your face or whatever, and talk about the problem that you can solve by recommending that product, that training product, that product that solves whatever problem your audience has, and just be real with them and be real with yourself and look at the time that you're spending to learn that skill. And if you get to a point where you've done this for a year or 2 years and it's not working, you know, be able to admit that it's not working. I need to reach out for help. I need to find training. I need to find a community. I need to find other people that are similar to me or that resonate with me that are doing what I want to do, and then look at them not as the competition, but as help.
Yeah. And again, I said this a million times before, and I'm going to say it again, is that the pie only gets bigger. That the more people that come in, the competition, it just makes it better, and it's going to push you, and that's what you want. I mean, most people want it to be, to be lazy and easy, and that's the reason why there's a whole market and a whole industry of people selling products geared to those who think that it's easy and they can make lazy money at the push of a button, or sometimes not even working at all. But the reality is that, like Gary said, you got to sit down and you have to take inventory. Is this something that I can do? How much time do I realistically want to devote to this? And how much can I do? And start plugging it into a calendar or writing on a wall. Make sure you commit to it and understand that it's going to take time. You're going to have to kind of shift priorities. But if it's something that you really, really want to do, then you got to go out and get it. No one's going to hand it to you. And that's the reason why so many people try it and so many people fail. And it's the ones who realize that the failure is just feedback and it's pushing you in a different direction. You may do something for a year and it may not work out, but that just means that what you tried for a year isn't what was meant for you. That there is something else that you can do in order to build a business. You can build a business online in almost anything. And, I think you just got to find your one thing. And Gary talks about your one thing all the time. Find your one thing and stick to it. Stay focused. Exactly. Right there. That book right there.
It's true. After you cross off, make that list, you say, okay, I'm my number one competitor. Boom, I solved that problem. And the truth is, if you listen to this point, I think you've solved that problem. Now you move on to, your next level of competition. And, it might be surprising to some that are listening to the podcast, or if you're watching this on the YouTube channel, that me and Ken Furukawa right there, we're direct competitors as affiliate marketers. So think about that. As you've listened to this episode and the advice that we've given you, and we mentioned 30-minute marketing and we can mention Ken Furukawa marketing, me and Ken are direct competitors. I mean, we compete for the exact same spots over on YouTube for the exact same content.
Yeah. And so it's like a total mind shift that you need to encounter, is that, yeah, we are competitors, but at the same time, we're peers and, we're friends. And, if I ask a question, Gary's gonna help me. If he asks me a question, I'm gonna help him. And that's the whole networking piece of it too, because, the professor, believe it or not, he's gonna be making buku bucks. So I need to be his friend and be in his good graces so that he could hire me to do some things in his multi-million dollar company. And likewise, right? So that's the reason why but no, all kidding aside, we do it because sharing information and helping each other is kind of like the mindset that you have to have. So you have to have, you come from a place of serving, of giving, because that's how you attract those people. That's how you build, brand believers, as Gary likes to say. So, that to me is like the perfect analogy of competition that you just mentioned right there.
It is. And I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows that yes, you're your number one competitor, but you know, you got to get over it. And once you get past that hurdle, the good news is that, you know, you can find that your competition is not so, coarse and stiff and, not everyone is out there against you. It's not a battle to the death out there. You know, we're all in the same business. And when you pick your niche and you pick your problem, you'll find that you'll start working. And we go back to those relationships with your audience, but
Mhm.
also the vendors. Those vendors are most likely affiliates as well. And the other army of affiliates that are out there working for that same vendor, just take it sort of easy on yourself when you get started. And also know that the competition is not so stiff. So, get out there and give it a try. Because the truth about making money online as an affiliate marketer is you have to start and you have to convince yourself that you're going to be successful.
Yeah. And just go out and do it. That's the way that it is. One
Thank
day
you.
at a time. That's what we do.
Nike, just do it.
Just do it.
And with that, I'm Gary Baker. He's Ken Furukawa, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.